So this is our 19th Trends session, our third virtually, and hopefully when we get to our 20th, inshallah, it will be back in person at the Biz offices. So I'm really looking forward to how we manage to get you all in there. But this is a great record turnout, I think. I'm not sure who's buying the donuts and who was the furthest off the final number that join us today. I'm Hazel Jackson. I'm CEO and founder of Biz Group, for those people that don't know me. I've got a lot of colleagues that are going to work with me today, but particularly I'd like to introduce you to JP, who's our producer. Any technical questions, any challenges, send him a message. Don't ask me. You're probably all very familiar with Zoom. We're only going to be using chat, polls, and breakouts. But feel free, if you want to use any of the other tools that you know in Zoom to distract us, feel very, very free to use those. So what's today about? Today is about this mammoth report. Let us know if you read it, but I've read it about 3 or 4 times. It's 100 pages. It's Josh Bersin, so we love Josh. And to be honest with you, both what he's trying to solve and the report is complicated and complex. And by complicated, I mean that actually once you decide you want to do something in one of these 13 categories, it actually takes a series of steps in order to try and figure out how to move it forward. So that's complicated, but you could perhaps follow a logical path. But it's also complex, because actually what's happening is all of those solutions are integrated and interact with each other. So the report jumps around all the time, and it's actually really hard to follow. What we've done is we've broken those 13 things down and picked 6 in the 90 minutes that we have together to do a bit of a deep dive on. And so forgive me if it's not on one of the topics you really wanted to learn about, but we will point you to that report a little bit later on. The bad news: there is no one solution. There is no silver bullet. There is no panacea. There is no one way that you're going to look at all your HR and learning tech problems and find one vendor that's going to help fix it all. In fact, Bersin says on average, people will use 9.1 systems to manage their HR function. What I am going to ask as we go through this is, if you hear something, a nugget, something about an app, something about a platform, and you go, oh, I want to know more about that, they moved on too quickly, in the chat, type TMM, tell me more, okay? And then write that one word that you want us to come back to you with some more information on. We won't be able to do it live today, but we will try and come back, and where we can't answer your question, we'll find a man that can, okay? We're reasonably well connected in this area, and we'll reach out to the network and find you somebody that can help. So remember TMM, and JP will help me keep track of those. I also want you to remember this word, the end game. You're going to hear it an awful lot. In Biz, we focus on a client's end game. And the way that we like to start is understanding, I don't know, what metrics are you trying to impact? What behaviors are you trying to change? What is the particular division trying to measure that's different than's happening right now? Can we get to an ROI? Can we only get to an ROE, return on expectations? But we like to start with the end game. And everything you're going to hear today, Bersin reiterates that throughout the report. Don't go wildly buying a lot of new technology. Get really, really, really clear on your end game and then work backwards. So what are some of the big messages that come out of this report? First of all, we've been going through evolution. If you've come in our trends session, we've been watching how the trends change. A lot of HR people might even still be stuck in what he would call the 1970s or 1980s. Your HR technology is just giving you a system of record. Others might already be looking at systems around talent. Some today, he's saying we should be looking at systems of engagement. But moving forward, we need to be looking at systems of work. And by that, he means that technology in HR is no longer about what makes you do your job easier. And it's all about finding solutions in the flow of work that make it easier for employees. So if you're designing systems for you, we've got it wrong. The reason why they're saying is that employees don't really care that you spent all this time designing this system to make it easier for you. They are not going to take the time nor have the interest to go searching around your HR system to find where they can log their leave or fill out a form. It needs to be fast, it needs to be intuitive, and it needs to be in the tool they're already working with. Recently, we worked, actually, it was with Stops, with a division of Etihad, where they used Salesforce as their main system of work. And what we needed to do was integrate one of the learning tools we use into that system of work, rather than it being a standalone app. So everything's about finding where will it be easy for the employees to find what they need. And so you'll hear a lot about this. Now, you've seen charts like this before. It's scary. And this is just some of the logos. By the way, you'll get all of these slides. So if you're busy trying to take screenshots, we share everything with you that we are sharing with you today. This is the hottest market. These are all of the apps that Bersin talks about in his report. And as we said, you can't manage everything with one. So a quick poll from JP right now. Without looking at these logos, how many systems are you currently using in your HR department or learning department? Okay, are you using up to 5 different systems? Are you 6 to 12, 13 to 20, or 20 plus? Okay, 0 to 5. Some might be going 0. What's wrong with the Excel spreadsheet, you ask? I think that's really interesting. Okay, a few have got 20 plus. And you know, technology is the same as we have on our phone. We use some of those apps all the time. We use others less. And that's what they're saying about HR tech. There's a lot that we can use. Wow, that's interesting. A lot of us are narrowed down in that 0 to 5 section. Okay, a few, only one person is juggling the 20 different pieces of technology based on this poll right here. 64. We good to close that out now, JP, and capture that as reference? Awesome. Okay, so the not very many apps wins it right now based on this population. What I found fascinating in this report, though, if you do have to watch one piece of technology, can you guess what it is? Throughout the report, Bersin talks about Microsoft. Microsoft, why? Literally, he says, I keep coming back to Microsoft because where are we all working right now? What is the tool we're all using and has exploded during the pandemic? Teams and MS 365. That's the flow of work. That's where people already are. And as though it was perfectly timed yesterday to align with Biz Group's HR Tech Trends survey, trend session, Microsoft launched Windows 11 yesterday. Of course, it was all coordinated to connect with us, but Windows 11 is called the Hybrid Working System, Hybrid and Learning Solution. They've even put learnings in the new platform. The good news, they're not charging for this upgrade. I believe there are a few tech things that you need to have in place in order to have your system ready, but I would be saying to you right now, Windows 11 is the one to watch. Even before this announcement, Microsoft was the one to watch. If you want to know more about the Microsoft 11 solutions and what can happen particularly in Teams, please do TMM Microsoft or TMM MS in the chat. I'm really interested as to whether we should bring a specialist group together just to look at what those tools are and how they might help. What's fascinating for me is that's a system that your organization has possibly already aligned with. So it becomes so much easier to ask them to embrace it. What else is driving the pace of change within that, what's going on in HR? Well, we all know, the global pandemic has definitely driven the pace of change because we're all working hybrid. Also, there's been an explosion of learning experience platforms. The LMS is dead system of record. Now we're looking at how we create that experience. Recruitment has also significantly changed with a lot of new AI tools that are coming in. And let's be honest, we've all had to work remotely and more collaboratively remotely. So there's lots of tools that are supporting that. But perhaps what's fascinating you might see behind the scenes is there's a massive amount of money coming from venture capitalists into the ed tech scene. And so there have been lots of mergers and acquisitions. And just when you think you've found the right platform for you, before you know it, it's either acquired or it's acquired somebody else. And so it's going to be an ever-changing, ever-moving game right now. And so you being really clear on your end game is going to be critical. I thought these stats were amazing, and perhaps it goes to support a little bit why MS Teams is actually going to be in the flow of work. It has 145 million users per day. You want them to use your HR system or your HR solution, then this is the place where they're going to find it easier. Some of the other tech is still great, but it's got a way to catch up. And that's why I think Microsoft has jumped all over owning that space and building out all of these new technologies that will support our jobs in HR and learning. What is also great, and by the way, at the bottom of our slides, if we think there's a particular page for you to reference in the report rather than wading through the 100 pages, we reference that page number to make it a little bit faster for you. So here, he's provided in page 81 and 82 a number of things you need to do to evaluate vendors. A really good checklist for you if you're going through that process right now. Again, he starts with the end game. Make sure that you've got clarity on that. Make sure it's around the employee first. Partner with IT. You're going to hear me say a lot of times, and I said it in the last trends session we had, become friends with your IT department. Okay, you have to make connections with them. And you have to be clear about why you need their help. And also create a governance team around everything that you're doing. But he gives a lot more detail around these steps for vendor evaluation in those pages. Now, I've shared enough right now. I'm going to actually put you into your first breakout. If you've ever been in a biz train session, you'll know the breakouts are short and depends on who you get in there. I'm just going to have a heads out warning right now. If you kind of like switched on, you've not put your camera on, you're hoping just to get the slide deck and sneak away. Iqbal, I've just seen you put your camera on. That's great to see you there, Iqbal. I'm just flicking through everybody here right now. We're going to put you into a breakout session. We're probably going to have 3 or 4 people in a breakout at a time. If you arrive in a breakout with nobody there, come back to the main session and we'll re-put you in somewhere else. Okay, so feel free, don't hang around by yourself for the next 5 minutes talking. Here's your question. Here's what I want you to have a look at. What's the biggest, the number one HR tech challenge in your organization right now? Okay, and when you're in your breakout, please have one person who maybe is a bit of a scribe. And when you come back, were there any trends from your conversation? I'm going to ask for them to be put really quickly into the chat. We don't have time to debrief these breakouts, so make the most of your time in that session to learn from your peers. So biggest HR tech challenge in your organization, take a few moments to share and we'll see you. JP, we're all good?
Yes, we are.
Fantastic. JP, send them to their breakouts. I'll see you in 5.
All right, here we go.
There we go. That was my wrap up. Coming back in, and we are recording the session not in the breakouts, just in the plenary, so you can have access. Welcome, welcome. In they come. Superb, Mr. Finnegan. I see you pop up on my screen. That's nice to see you, David. Okay, Jennifer. Oh, I love to see all these faces. Fantastic. It's always best straight after a breakout because, hey, Gary, nice to see you again. Still looking smart in your tie. Quite impressed with that. Fantastic. Welcome back.
Didn't talk about my tie, Hazel. I'm disappointed. I mean, you know, I always wear a tie for your meetings. I'm disappointed. I feel like I'm being, you know, neglected.
Okay, and what a good colour tie that is.
I'm a favourite.
I disappear, right?
Awesome. Okay, welcome back, everybody. If you were the person with the scribe, we're just really fascinated to see what were the trends that you just discussed or the challenges you just discussed. Perhaps you can pop them very quickly in the chat. I'm not going to reference them now, but we will pull them together in our final report out on this session. So if you can pop those in there, that would be great. They mentioned at the beginning, we're going to look at 6 key categories. These are the 6 categories that we picked at BIS that we thought were really quite interesting to go into. I'm going to have colleagues share two sessions or 2 sections of the report, and we'll put you back into another quick breakout to discuss what you've learned from that section. We'll do it again, and we'll do it a 3rd time. So you're going to have 3 breakouts and effectively 6 topics. I am going to leave you with these thoughts. It's complex. It's complicated. If you're brave, read the full report. If you're not brave, pick the section in our quick reference guide to dig a little bit deeper in the parts of the learning tech, HR tech that will apply to your end game. Interesting stat, 28% of companies globally are planning to change their HRM system this year. That's massive change in the industry. Corporate learning is ditching the LMS system and moving to an LXP. If you're having that battle, get to know your IT people a little bit closer and figure out how you can move with those times. There's loads more money being poured into the market, and there is going to be a lot of mergers and acquisitions. So also watch what's going on. Maybe you've got one tool and all of a sudden they're going to add 3 or 4 additional features, and keep your eyes on Microsoft. What we are going to do is send you a whole bunch of stuff to fill your inbox, the full report so you have access, all our slides, a quick reference guide on the pages. And if you ask for any information from us, we'll try and respond individually to find out, to give you some more around that. We'll also share some of the recordings on social media, some snippets of this, and provide it available to all of you.